Welcome to Real Estate Secrets Unlocked, the podcast that takes you inside the minds of the industry's top professionals, revealing their top secrets to success. I'm your host, Danielle Damianov. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, get ready to learn the latest trends, strategies, and secrets that will help you succeed. Join us as we go beyond the basics and explore what it takes to make it in the world of real estate. So buckle up and get ready for a wild ride. This is Real Estate Secrets Unlocked. Hey everybody, it's Danielle Damianov with Real Estate Secrets Unlocked, and I am here today with Chris Kille. I'm so excited. He's with Elevate Outsourcing. So Chris, thank you so much for being on, and why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you do?
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on. So, as you said, my company is called Elevate Outsourcing. And what we do is we provide senior level virtual assistants. We match them up with entrepreneurs and business owners, real estate agents, right? For the people that are looking to scale. So what we found is that a lot of times, especially if as a smaller business, maybe a 1 or 2 man shop, you find a lot of people are wearing tons of different hats. Right. And then what that actually does is that prohibits the growth of the business. So I learned from my own businesses that bringing in people that can help on a task-based or, kind of handing off the stuff that you really shouldn't be doing to somebody else who's perfectly qualified for it actually allows you to free up your time and scale your business. So thank you.
Absolutely. It's funny. One of the things you just said, it made me think about an event that I was at Apex. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember who said it, but one of the guys that they had brought in for a speaker said, if people have to come to you every time they need something done or, they have to ask a question or whatever, like you are your own bottleneck in your business.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And that really got me thinking. So in order for anyone to grow and scale, you need other people on the team. And I think the biggest hurdle is number one, finding them, right? Mm-hmm. Finding good employees. And number two, training, right? Because you think I'm so busy, I need to bring somebody in, but I don't have the time to actually sit down and A, find them and then B, train them. Mm-hmm. So talk to me a little bit about, you mentioned senior level though. What do you mean by that?
So senior level for me and for us is typically master's degree, right? At least minimum of 3 years experience, but usually 5 in the field of choice, right? Perfect English, both written and verbal. Excuse me. A lot of times very neutral accent, right? It all depends on, the specs that you're looking for, right? We do recruit custom. But what I found was when we started out, we would do a lot of the entry level, like the really low volume ones. And what we found is that you just get a tremendous amount of churn. On it. And it's just, for the price point anyway, you spend an extra couple dollars an hour, right? And you get the difference between an entry level employee here, right? And somebody who's not entry level. So yeah, we found that doing, focusing on the higher skill sets, the more tenured type people is a better fit.
Yeah. Yep. And so how would you go about, so somebody comes to you and they're needing, some sort of assistant or work in the business. How do you go about figuring out exactly what they need and then finding that person?
Yeah. So what we do is we have a discovery call. We get a lot of people who want to come on and they want to work with us. And what we've gotten very particular about the type of people that we will work with. So whenever somebody reaches out and has interest, right, we'll go through, it's a discovery call essentially, where we sit down, we learn about them, we learn about their business, we learn about their core values, right? And we want to see, first of all, if there's going to be a fit there. If there is a fit, then what we'll do is we have a series of questions and kind of like a choose your own adventure type thing where you go through and we're able to actually figure out exactly the type of person that they're looking for. And then from there, we determine if that's going to be a fit for us as well. So there's a couple different levels of it. Yeah. But it's completely custom.
Okay. And so a lot of your VAs, are they going to be virtual for that client or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So everybody's virtual.
Everybody that we place is over in the Philippines.
Oh, everyone's over. Okay. And I actually have a lot of VAs. I have one VA that has worked with me since 2013. So she's in the Philippines. They are so loyal. Unless they're getting some sort of tsunami, they will be on, right? Their internet does go down from time to time. But, they're well-spoken, great English, very great verbal skills. So have you been to the Philippines?
Believe it or not, I have not.
You have
So,
not.
yeah, they had a vaccine requirement for a while, and
Oh.
without getting too political, that's that was not for me. So at some point I will go. It's just we have not planned the trip yet.
And so how would you say, like, what are some of the tools that you use for managing your VAs that work for you, that actually work for other people? I'm just curious, a lot of people will have staff, especially after COVID, a lot of staff is virtual, right? So what are some of the different like tools, platforms, project management tools that you use in your company to kind of manage all of that?
Great. Yeah, thank you. So we use ClickUp for the majority of our organizational type tasks, to be able to track, to be able to delegate, to be able to, especially whenever you have multiple people working on a project. So the way you can configure ClickUp is when one person's done with something, it'll automatically, tell the next person, okay, it's your turn up or whatever. You can also, watch the project boards and stuff. We use Slack, to communicate, actually moving over into everything Google though soon. So Slack will probably be gone, as well as Zoom, but, and then we use Dashlane for our password systems.
What is it called?
Dashlane.
Dashlane. Okay.
Yep.
So ClickUp is interesting. That's actually one of the ones that I have been doing a lot of research on between Trello, Asana, ClickUp, all of that. And I just got ClickUp. But in my mind, I'm thinking, oh gosh, this is one more thing I need to learn, right? And so would you say that with ClickUp, you really have to go in and customize it for your business, or?
Yeah. It's something that, and to your point, I was kind of the same way. I let my team handle everything. I don't really get into ClickUp too often, right? That's what I have my support team kind of, they go in, they do their thing. That's where they work. Right. And then I get daily reports of the stuff that's in ClickUp, but you're never going to catch me going, I don't know how to use it.
Going in there to figure it out. And that's where the virtual assistants come in, because I think a lot of, business owners, real estate agents, especially as a real estate agent, you're wearing so many hats, right? And that's any business owner, but as a single agent, you have to show buyers property. You have to go on listing presentations. Once you get them under contract, you have to handle all of that transaction management, coordinate the photos, coordinate the home inspections, deal with the mortgage brokers. So you're dealing with so many different people. Your marketing, your flyers, marketing your listings, that they never grow and scale to the ability that they can, because they're trying to do it all, but yet they don't realize that you can very easily hire virtual assistants to handle that for you.
Yeah. And to that point, so there's a couple different ways you can look at it. So most people for the ClickUp or Monday, Trello, Asana, whatever, it's usually just a one-time setup. You build it out the way that you want to build it, right? And then it just goes. So what I would recommend, if you don't want to take the time to learn it yourself, which I don't recommend doing, because you're not a software developer, right?
Exactly.
So you can go on ClickUp, you can go on Fiverr or Upwork, and you can find somebody for a couple $100 that can build it out for you exactly the way that you want for it quickly, right? And then to your point before, where you were saying about there's all these different workflows, part of one of the things you can do is you can have a workflow customized for a listing or for a showing or for this, where it's literally like you cannot advance to the next stage until all of the boxes are checked. So a real estate agent, for example, would be able to bring in a virtual assistant that has real estate experience, right? And then you pick your level of involvement in what you want to do, but then, that's part of the thing that it's a lot of people, they're like, oh, I don't have time to train. Well, you only have to do it one time. And so you just have the system set up, and then the virtual assistant that you hire can manage everything through. So now all you got to do is go out and do what you like to do, which most of the time is shake hands, right? Get out, meet people, mix it up, show properties, right? And then you can worry, your back office is being handled, and that everything's being done because you set it up the right way once.
Absolutely. And I think what's important, and one of the things that you just said is is having the SOPs in your business.
Yes.
Right? So once you figure out what your SOPs are, your standard operating procedures, you have to document exactly what you do. I always tell my agents, whether I'm doing a training, a class, or coaching them, video what you're doing. And so that way you have all of the videos of exactly what you want done. So if you bring in a VA and that VA doesn't work out, you can easily hire a new VA to handle that. you know, or send them your SOPs and what you want done and say, hey, send me some examples of projects you've worked on doing these types of things.
Yeah. And to that point, which is actually pretty cool, you only have to do that one time, and then you can actually give it to your VA. And then they can create the document for you, right?
Exactly.
So it's like, you know, they're like, okay, cool. I'm going to show you how to do this once. It's on video. I want you to replicate it. I want maybe edit this video, maybe turn this into a PDF, whatever, step by step. So that way, like you said, if they churn, then the next person that comes on, you're like, all right, here's your training manual. Boom. You only have to do it one
time. Okay. And what you just said made me think of something else. So have you used Otter?
Yeah.
Okay. So with Otter, if you're doing an SOP, like you're videoing, you're on Zoom, because I do mine on Zoom. I know a lot of people use Loom or whatever. I don't know why. I cannot figure that out. It like keeps crashing. And so Zoom for me is where it's at. But anyways, you can go on Zoom and then have your Otter, you know, on Zoom, right? It records everything you're doing. And then the awesome thing is it breaks it down into words as well. So if you're recording, you know, how to enter a listing into the MLS, for example, you can have Otter in there and it will break it down step by step, written and in little clips. So it will create the whole entire manual for you.
And then to take it even a step farther, if you want to get real fancy with it, you can take that transcription and upload it into ChatGPT and then ask them to kick out like, hey, can you give me action items? Can you do things like that? And it'll take that and just and magnify it. There's so many cool things you can do. Yeah.
Okay. So then I have a question for you on that, because I'm teaching a class next week to the Board of Realtors. And so I know I use ChatGPT for so many things. I just opened up a software company, and so my privacy policy, sorry, is ChatGPT. You know, my agreements, my contracts, all of that, ChatGPT did it. Anyways, do you need the paid version to do something like what you were just talking about?
You don't, but paid version is only $20 a month, so I don't know why you wouldn't. Right. It's a little faster. Now, the thing that you got to watch with ChatGPT is the information. If you're actually trying to get information to extract it from it, it only goes to 2021. So it's a couple years behind. There are a couple other competitors out there that actually that will do more. One, I just read about one yesterday. I forget what it's called, but it's a second version of it. It's current. It goes up to like a month ago, but you can also get a 75,000 word output out of it, which is like, that's insane. Where ChatGPT, I think, is 3,000 is where it caps at right now.
So what I was actually doing research on this morning, and what it said was the paid version actually, so the free version goes to 2021. The paid version will go all the way up until recent.
Really? Okay, cool. I wasn't aware of that.
And it showed like, what are the top 5 best stock picks today? And it will say, as of July, whatever today is, July 12th or 13th, the top 5, blah, blah, blah. And so and then the other thing about the paid version is the plugins. And able to, you know, have certain plugins and stuff like that. So yes, I'm doing a whole lot of research on ChatGPT to be able to share it with everybody. But back to the virtual assistants. First of all, I've had VAs since 2013. I know a lot of people think it's like, oh, a new thing. It's been around forever.
Been around forever. Yeah.
It's been around forever. And a lot of them are in the Philippines, you know, outside of the United States, but they work during our hours.
Yeah.
A lot of them have a ton of experience, whether it's real estate investing, you know, real estate. I was even looking for mortgage, and there was like mortgage processors and underwriters that worked for top banks like Wells Fargo. I couldn't believe it. And they're in the Philippines.
Right. And they're easy. The best part about those is that whenever you find somebody, so the big companies out there, like the Chase, the Wells, the Bank of America, things like that, they treat them like absolute shit. So if you can find one that's looking for a new, because that's part of the way that we do is we go poach, right? So we'll post and, you know, we'll do, but a lot of times what we do is we'll hammer LinkedIn, we'll hammer like, you know, and we'll reach out to people and we'll say, hey, you're senior level here, or you're whatever. Are you happy? Right? Would you like a little bit more time off? How about a little bit extra money? How flexible are your hours? You know, things like that. And what most people don't realize, or maybe they do, is that the larger corporations, they go over there for a reason, right? Not only one, is it cheaper, but they can really, really, really put the screws and, you know, they hold that, well, do you want this job or not? Right. There's a lot of you over here. Right. So it's like a lot of the times what you'll find is working almost under duress. And so if you can come in and show a more casual, more relaxed, more pleasing work environment, right? And instead, they still have to do the same stuff, right? But they're not worried about getting fired every minute of every day, right? And replaced. It's so much easier to get talent over there that way.
Yeah. And they're great talent, loyal talent. Like it's,
yeah.
So with your,
it goes both ways, but for the most part, yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've had some bad ones. And the thing is, you can replace them very easily, right? You don't have to go through the United States labor laws on how to fire someone. If it's not working out, well, it's not working out.
Not working out. Yeah.
Exactly. So with your company, do you hire mostly long-term? Do you have one-off? Okay. So
we do full-time and sometimes short-term placements, but we're looking to find, what we found is that the part-time and the gig work, it's too erratic. So for us being, we like consistency, we like that monthly recurring revenue, we like everything like that set up. And so because of the large investment of time that it takes for us to actually find, source, and screen, right? We find that the longer term placements work best.
Yep. So let's talk about you, because you've scaled this and you've grown this pretty quickly. I mean, you opened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So where would you say you're finding most of your clients?
Right now it's based off of referrals. Actually, I'm involved in some networking groups and, masterminds and things like that. And I get a lot of referrals, from there. We've scaled to close to 7 figures already just off of referrals. And now we're starting to pivot our marketing plan to where we're actually going to go out and start doing, some outreach now. So yeah.
That's awesome. And what did you come up with? I mean, everyone has ideas and then they start something and never follow through and implement it. And you've been able, me too. I have 1 million domains. I have 1 million ideas. Yeah. So how did you kind of stay the course over those 2 years to get it to where it is today?
So I have another company that I've had for 18 years now. And it's not a funny story, but it's kind of just it's like an aha moment story. So it's a credit card processing company. We're very focused and we have a very small niche, but I went probably 10 years going door to door, doing it the hard the old fashioned way, walking around with my binder. Hello, I'm Chris. Can I save you some money? Right. And, what ended up happening was I changed the way I did business. And then I went to a conference one time and I heard this guy talking about virtual assistants, and I had absolutely no idea. It was completely foreign to me. I went up, I talked to him after he spoke, and he told me how much he costs. And I'd rather figure things out on my own, which is, I know that's the wrong way to do it now because time is way more valuable than money. But excuse me, it actually benefited me in the long run. I decided not to hire him. In the grand scheme of things, he was not that expensive, but I did end up learning I was able to build out my back office using people from the Philippines. So that way I could then focus on sales and growing. And I went from, I think I 8x'd my company inside of 3 years.
Wow.
Just because it freed me up I wasn't doing service calls anymore. I wasn't reprogramming this. I wasn't doing any of the tech stuff. I was just out shaking hands and selling and, and building relationships with people, which is the stuff that I like to do, as opposed to being stuck. Once you get to a certain point, it's very hard to sell because you have so many customers that are always calling in and you have to service them so they don't leave. Right. So I actually learned how to, it took me a very long time to figure out kind of the game essentially. And then what ended up happening was I did it for one of my friends, and then I did it for one of his friends. And then I was like, you know what, this is way more rewarding than having people calling and yelling at me every day about a fee that they have to pay. Right. So, now it's, we're actually able to watch people scale, watch people grow, and also provide an opportunity to somebody in another country that, it's very, very fulfilling for me. And so it came about by accident. But I'm really glad that it did.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're helping people grow their business. I mean, people, like I mentioned in the beginning, you are your own bottleneck in your business. So if you get here, and you can't get there unless you have, people and processes and systems in place. Yeah. And so by showing people, hey, you can do this with somebody that's not that expensive, you don't have to worry about keeping them on full time and this, that, the other thing. I mean, that's rewarding in itself, right? And these people are so grateful because the amount of money that they're making. So I have a question. I spoke to somebody a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. And I use Upwork and Fiverr. I mean, that's where I get a lot of my.
So do we. Yeah.
A lot of my people are like one-offs. Like I need, Jeanette's been with me just to give, the agents and a couple of different examples of how I used virtual assistants in my business. It started with Jeanette. I mean, she's been with me since 2013. Yesterday, it's so stupid, like the dumbest stuff I sent her, but I just don't want. So I had a PDF. I needed it in an editable Word doc.
Sure,
Jeanette,
yeah.
Here's my PDF. Within like literally 5 minutes, I had that back. From the time I messaged her, I didn't even know if she was awake. Right. I had the Word document back. I had a virtual assistant. So she does all those little one-off things. Excel, create a flyer for me. I have an event next week. She did the flyer, all of that type of stuff. Marketing. This podcast, actually, I have had people approach me, and they charge $10,000-$15,000 to get you started with the podcast.
Yeah.
I figured out how to do it on my own. And I have Jeanette in the Philippines editing the podcast. She does the thumbnails. She uploads it to, where it to go. So, so that type of stuff, but cold calling. I have an agent a virtual assistant that's cold calling 2 hours a day, every morning, expired listings for sale by owners, people that got their list pendants in the mail, which is a pre-foreclosure. So I have someone doing that. I have another one that handles all of my CRM stuff that I just, launched. So, I mean, there's so many different inputting listings into the MLS. Newsletters, marketing, social media, anything, so that you name it. You name it. Exactly. Name
it. It's stuff that I'll just give you an example. So I have a course that, part of the, I have clients here, but then we also have clients over there. We sell a course to teach people in the Philippines, and any country for that matter, but how to get a higher paying job. So we teach them how to interview, we teach them what to say, we teach them, and we took I sell it for $7. Okay. And I had it hooked up to Stripe. Right. But what we weren't selling as many, and we realized that, that with the Philippine, they're not using Stripe. So they're like, we have to find another payment processor over there specifically for that. I don't have time to deal with that shit. Right. So I basically said, hey, I need somebody to look into this. And it was done. Right. And now all of a sudden, now we're up and running again. But it's just those little things like that I don't have time to learn. I don't want to learn how to do it. I have no desire to do it. We all know that as high performing individuals, I had to talk with them this morning. I was like, a lot of times, I'll get out of a meeting and I will not remember what happened in that meeting again. That's why I need Julius with me. So taking notes, letting me know what I need. He gives me, I get an email at the end of every single day with an action items list. Hey, Chris, here's what you did today. Here's what you owe to people. Here's what people owe to you. Let me know as you work through it. And it just continues to roll and roll. And that's one of the most important parts of my day. So I get to wake up in the morning and I don't have to think about what I did yesterday. I just get to look at things, react, make the decision, check it off the list, and I move on to the next one.
I love that. And that's high performing. I mean, but and you and I were just having a conversation before the podcast about the do not disturb, right?
Yeah.
Finding all of these little tweaks and hacks within yourself because you understand who you are as a person and what you need to do to eliminate the distractions. Because I'm a definite self-proclaimed squirrel where I'm like, oh, good idea. And I find myself in like a million different things. And it's like, wait, why am I not? And a lot of people are like that, especially visionaries, right?
Yeah.
So this is your integrator.
Yeah. So, and that's the other thing too, is with the senior level, a lot of times we recruit people that have operational experience. So that way, when you get that good idea, and I'm really good at starting something and getting like 30% through it. And then I will find something else to do. Right. So now I have a team in place that if we agree that this is something that we want to pursue, I get to start it. I get to set up the way that I want to, and then I just kick it to somebody else and then they run with it. Right.
Yeah.
When I'm needed, they bring me back in, but if not, it's just, and that's what I found has been so valuable to me because I would start stuff and never finish it ever. I've got a million projects out there that are like 75, 80% done. That'll never be finished because I got shiny object syndrome and I found something else to do.
Exactly. So during COVID, I had, and this is funny because, and it kind of goes along with the whole virtual VA type of thing. We were going somewhere and I had to like cancel the flight and I had to deal with Delta. And then I also had to deal with Suriname Air, right? Who has time to sit there and call the airline, sit on So I said, you know what I need? I'm like, I need a Dick or like a Karen. I'm like, I need a Karen to take care of this for me.
You need a what?
A Karen, or like,
Would you
first
say
I was
before that?
going, no, I'll tell you how that came about. So I was like, you know
Okay.
what? I need a Karen. So I go on GoDaddy, just hire Karen.com. I'm like, I need Karen to come in, take
No
over.
way.
It was taken.
No.
So I said, then I'm gonna go with Dick, like a guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So I was like, just hire Dick.com.
I need a
It was
dick.
available. So
Right.
I bought the domain, just hire Dick.com. And my whole idea was, this old grumpy man, but that was like, going to do things like sit down with Delta, call, insurance companies, if you're like trying to figure out, report a bill, or all the little things that we do not have time for.
Right.
We can hire the virtual assistants to do that. But that was like my whole theme. And then I just see that business come out. What is it? Overall on something like that. My exact idea that I
Somebody
wrote
else did
the
it.
business plan on just came out. So I was like, I have a million ideas, a million business plans, a million things that don't get started. So I have to tell myself, focus.
Got to focus on one. And then once you get it up and running, then you can move on to something else.
Exactly. And that's where the virtual assistants come in to really be able to help you do that.
Sure.
So we can end it with this. What can we give people, like if they have a million different things that they need to get done, but they want to start with hiring one person?
Yeah.
Where can they kind of like assess what they need, right? To kind of have that second person and then grow from there.
So that's actually a really good question and a great segue. Thank you for this. I don't know when this is going to be released or not, but I have a book coming out on August 3rd, right? And it's a series. So this is the first part. The second one will be out a couple months later, but it's called The Rise of Virtual Assistants. And so it really kind of peels back the top, gets down into the nitty gritty, shows examples, kind of really talks about the industry as a whole. But what I'm doing, I think it's like $9, right? I'm selling it as cheap as Amazon will let me, right? And for those that actually sign up through my website, and I'll get you the link for that. I think it's going to be chriskille.com/resources or /book, something. I'll get you the actual thing so that way you can put it in the notes. But for those people who actually purchase the book through the link, I actually am going to include 2 different worksheets. One of them, which is what we use internally, is called our needs assessment. And that's exactly what it's going to do. Is it's going to help you go down. It's going to look, because you have creative, technical, and administrative, typically, right? Those are the 3 that they usually fall into. And it's got a whole bunch of different questions and drop downs for each one of those that if you complete it, you should be able to have a pretty good snapshot of the type of person that you're looking for. And then that's a great place to start. So yeah, that'll be, if somebody purchases the site, not through Amazon, but direct through my website, that'll be included along with another surprise giveaway.
I love that. So is this your first book?
It is. And it's actually funny because I have 3 coming out. So the first one, we wrote the first one and it actually was too long. So we actually chopped it in. The first one is more theoretical, kind of talks about it, talks about what they are, gives a better understanding of the industry as a whole. And then the second one is very tactical. It's going to come out a couple months later. So it's like, all right, cool. If you decide that you want to implement this and you want to do it on your own, right? This is literally a step-by-step. It's exactly the way that we do it. It can be pretty labor intensive, but we're going to show you exactly the way that we do it. And again, it's going to be like $9. So
August 3rd, Chris Kille's book coming out. You can get it on his website. The link will be below in this video. Don't forget, everybody, if you want more of Real Estate Secrets Unlocked, to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well as the podcast. Thank you so much for being on. It brought a ton of value. Hopefully people can be more productive in their day. Hire the virtual assistants because that is a huge start in growing and scaling business. So any last words?
No, I mean, I just think that what I would say is that if you're curious about it and you've ever been, interested in just learning more, just go take a look, right? Google it. It's not there's really nothing unethical about it. A lot of times people they're like $5 an hour, $6, $4 an hour. Look, that's game changing money over there, right?
Yeah.
You gotta look at the different. It's all about scale, and honestly, especially for somebody who's operating on a budget, right? And we all are, right? It's the easiest and most effective way that you can get to the next level, right? Very quickly with a low barrier of entry. So yeah, so I'd highly recommend taking a look.
I love it. Get his book, get the resources, get it on his website so you can get the resources. Thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it. It was great chatting with you.
Great chatting with you too. Thank you.
Got some value from this. Bye. Well, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Real Estate Secrets Unlocked. Don't forget to subscribe to our show on your favorite platform, and we would love your feedback. Check us out on social and let me know what topics you want more of. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and our show. I'm your host, Danielle Damianov, and until next time, stay motivated, stay excited, and keep growing in this crazy world of real estate. Thanks for listening to Real Estate Secrets Unlocked.